Hey, all my Scorpio friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your November 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Scorpio, I'm referring to Scorpio rising as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Scorpio sun, moon, and if you have a stellium in Scorpio, this is for you as well. When I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone. So please adjust for your location. Well, this is a big month. Well, obviously, I'm pretty sure everybody knows we're living in unprecedented times, and November is hosting the United States presidential election, which is a hotbed of all sorts of stuff. So, this is all playing in the background of our lives, and it's going to ripple around us. So the moon is we have a new moon in Scorpio on the 1st. I did a separate video on that, so please check that out. Also, I did love and money tarot card spreads for everybody. And so Scorpio, check that out for you. Doesn't matter whether you're Scorpio sun or moon or rising. Those are based actually on sun. November also will see Saturn moving direct in Pisces, which is very powerful because Saturn rules government and restriction and repression. And we have felt a real pull to slow down and look at our personal beliefs and look at our relationship with the divinity within. And it hasn't been easy. We also will see Pluto moving into Aquarius, which is going to last for the next 20 years. It's going to change the landscape of the Earth plane. We will obviously see things move into space and into future technologies as Aquarius rules that. And we will see the last Mercury retrograde for the year. And interestingly enough, it is going through the same area of Sagittarius that it did last year this time. And there's some pivotal points there, most poignantly, the great attractor. So all of this is very powerful. Let me pull up the chart and we'll jump right in. Okay, so we start with a new moon in Scorpio. This is in your first house. And this is making a beautiful aspect to Saturn. As I said, I did a separate video on that, so I'm just going to touch on this lightly. But Saturn rules history. Pisces rules ancestral history. So your soul's history is up for review. It has been up for review in many ways on a very deep psychological level that you may not be conscious of in your daily life. But at this point, I think what the new moon is offering you in this trine to Saturn is an opportunity that in the darkness of night, in the most frightening phase of the moon, because we can't see anything, it's that very dark phase where faith is required. And I think Saturn is saying if Scorpio is willing to do the work of awareness, it's willing to do the work of allowing the soul to come up through the personality. And rather than trying to annihilate it or fear it, allowing it to be a piece of information to build upon. I think this could be very powerful because when we see Pluto move into Aquarius, it's that house of home and family and how you nurture yourself and how you allow your intuitiveness to be your lighthouse, be your guiding light. And I think this could be very powerful because I think Scorpio is one of the most powerful signs of the zodiac, if not the most powerful, more than Capricorn, more than Leo, because it rules that emotional, psychological part of us that operates out of fear and giving up our power to another. Scorpio moon is extremely intuitive, but when they're not aware of it, they tend to default to the more brooding and intense sides of it and using that psychological awareness for manipulation. Again, not always on a conscious level. So this moon is giving you an opportunity to plant the seeds for rewriting and building upon your history. So we don't want to release anything. And I said I was going to be brief, and that took me a lot of time. Let's go to the 3rd. I'm going to move to 12 p.m. And on the 3rd, we're going to see hopefully both. Mars has moved up. Mars is not quite in Leo yet, but it will be shortly. And we see that Mercury has moved into Sagittarius. Sagittarius is your second house, and Leo is your 10th house of career. There is the opposition between Pluto and Mars, which I have did a separate video on that as well because it's super intense. So check that out as well for details on the dynamics there. But just let's say that basically whatever's going on for your Scorpio is your third house is fighting with your 10th house cusp. Your third and fourth house cusp is fighting with your 10th house cusp. Wait, that's not right. Capricorn is your third house. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. The wheel, sometimes even I get messed up by looking at the wheel. This is really powerful because Mars is in fall in Cancer. And so Mars is having to address emotional issues, and Pluto's pulling up that underbelly. And both of these planets co-rule you. So something outside of yourself is more than likely going to be a trigger, and not just on one day, but basically from the end of October all the way through probably till the mid of November, when even when Mars moves into Leo, we're still going to feel this aspect. This is really rough. I mean, I can't lie. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't make it easy, but what I can do is turn it to gold. Because if you're brave, as is reflected here in the Neptune North Node energy, Aries is your sixth house of work, and Pisces is your fifth house of creativity, of personal pleasure, of conception, of romance. If you're brave about your own behavior and your own habits, that's Saturn, in your fifth house, Saturn, giving you that the 1-2 punch of having to slow it down, look at it, feel it, reevaluate it, and ask if it's going to work long term. Because we also see a nice aspect here with Mercury in your second house of self-worth. And that's as Mercury moves over, as I referenced earlier in the video, towards the great attractor. It really gives you an opportunity to attract the things that you want, both energetically, spiritually, materially, emotionally, to make this tense aspect between your ruling planets work for you. This might feel like an annihilation of some kind, but remember, the phoenix rises from the ashes. Okay, that's all I can say about that, because this really is not easy. I don't even know. I can't even, because it could be happening, because we're 1 day or 2 days away from the election. This could be happening outside of yourself, and people are just fired up and okay. And on this day, this is the other thing. So we see in your second house is Venus. She likes being here. She's been around the great attractor. Now we see this opposition to Jupiter in Gemini, and that's in your eighth house of transformation. So there could be something where your value, your belief system, Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. And while Jupiter is a world traveler, with this opposition to Venus, we're really having to look at our self-worth, our money, what we think about how we're using our skills to create our money, and how we're willing to go into our community. And because the Gemini rules our communities, our teams, our workmates, our playmates, our the people that we interact with on a kind of daily basis. And then we also see the eighth house ruling other people's money. So there's the potential of, through some sort of, awareness, through, again, we have this opposition. So there's some tension, but there's an opportunity through the Pluto-Mars opposition to rewrite something, identify something that will then, after this Venus-Jupiter opposition is past, you'll be able to take advantage of the Chiron energy here in your sixth house of work, making a favorable aspect to whatever that epiphany is, and individualizing yourself, and then potentially birthing yourself in a place to bring more resources into your experience, physical, earthly, everyday experience. Okay, now on the 11th, Venus will move into Capricorn. She's quite serious when she moves into Capricorn, I want to say, from my perception. She really becomes very focused in on creating and building and being seen as a formidable energy. Venus is receptive. Venus likes a pleasure and luxury in the way of comfort. What makes her feel comfortable? It makes her feel a sense of I don't know. When I think of Venus, oftentimes I think of like being by a cozy fire with a blanket and a nice cup of cocoa, because it doesn't always have to be luxurious, like five-star hotel luxurious. It's more like what it's luxurious to you, right? So when Venus moves into Capricorn, she takes on more of that Venus and Taurus energy, where she's thinking practically about possessions and about how she, wants to stand in leadership for her voice, and she wants to show her confidence in her skills. And so while she's not the sexiest here, okay, she is a boss lady. And I think this is really powerful because when this transit starts, she's in a quincunx to Mars. Mars has been arguing over here with Pluto. So this is making me feel as if she can't see right now what's going on. She can't see it in the material world, and she's having to struggle between the practicality of Capricorn and the Venusian energy of receptivity and what she just experienced going through Sagittarius. It's like she's going to have to put her money in where her mouth is in Sagittarius, because she crossed over the great attractor, giving her an opportunity to see the power of her co-creation through her focus and her mind. And this is also going to be echoed by Mercury here. And then now she's just been on the galactic center, where Spirit has offered her an opportunity to download information and get inspirations to take into the Capricorn energy and apply. So we do see, here is Pluto, your co-ruler. These guys are still fighting in the background. And here she is in this quincunx to Mars. So little gentility and having to really, Scorpio, basically what's happening, especially for you Scorpio moons, you're really practicing how to hone your skills in your emotional body. And this is not about the emotional roller coaster. This is about the divinity within your emotional body that tells you and speaks to you from God's voice through your emotions. And sometimes we don't want to hear it. It's too hard. Honestly, it can be really rough. Now we go into a full moon in Taurus. And on the same day, Saturn will go direct. The full moon in Taurus is at 1:28 p.m. on the 15th. Okay. Now I'm a numbers gal, right? So here we go. I'm thinking to myself, 128 is reduces down to an 11. And this is a full moon. Something is coming. There's a lightning strike epiphany coming for you. So Taurus is your seventh house of, we always think of the seventh house as marriage partnerships, but not every person gets married or stays married. So yes, this can be professional contractual partnerships, but it's also the house that holds your peace, your balance, the fairness, the harmony that you create for yourself. And that which you create for yourself, you bring into your relationships. So this full moon Scorpio is going to illuminate something really powerful for you. And while it's not in a tight orb, the sun is in, oh no, it's not. Never mind. I take that back. The sun, I was going to say the sun was in an orb to a point that it's already passed through. I want to offer it this way, because the illumination that comes is a lightning strike from Uranus. Uranus retrograding into the seventh house, that's telling you, revisiting something. And, it could be, you thought you were done with it and then it pops its head up again. But whatever it is that's illuminated is favorable in the sense that it gives you an opportunity to have an awareness about the conversation that your ruling planet Pluto is having with Uranus, digging up whatever's holding you back, stationing at that 29th degree of Capricorn, really digging in slowly to get the last bits of fear and limitation and restriction, bringing it into the light It will probably never really be removed, but the awareness of it gives you a choice. And that is what Neptune has to offer you, is spiritual choice. The roller coaster ride that is the human experience will never stop, ever. So, and depending upon the other planets in your chart and what transits are happening, that will probably give you more illumination as to what that lightning strike will be. I will be doing a more intense or a more intricate video later in the month and posting, but this is specific for you now. I also want to tell you that I think it's so funny that 4 days later, on the 19th, Pluto at 1:28 p.m. Pacific time moves into Aquarius. Again, here I have this thing about numbers. 1:28 reduces down to an 11. You know, Aquarius is technically the 11th house. We're going to experience your ruling planet bring in another level of deconstruction, demolition, to liberate and revolutionize into the new space age. I expect over the next 20 years for the landscape of this earth to change dramatically, kind of the way that we were really horse and buggy driven for many centuries, and then we came into the industrial age, locomotive, etc. We're going to see a jump pretty big, and then, you know, moving forward after that, can't even begin. I probably won't be alive after. I mean, by the time Pluto gets to Pisces, I don't know if my lifespan will be that long. But anyway, I was thinking Aquarius, 20 years, Pisces, 20 years. If I'm here another 40 years, I'll be 100. I'll be over 100. Okay, so that's just, you know, and Aquarius again is your fourth house of home. Something is going to completely shift. Something is going to be rebirthed. You have the potential to rise like the phoenix. And again, I want to emphasize, we still see Pluto's opposition to Mars. Now, I think when you're getting into past 5 degrees, the intensity is kind of diminishing a bit, but it's still, these two planets are not fair weathered friends. They're like gangsters that work together, and then they have an argument. And in the argument, they're like, okay, you're not my friend anymore. And it becomes intense. So now, at the same time that Pluto is in Aquarius, we're going to see this conversation with Neptune and Uranus is going to go on for years. If you've listened to my videos, you'll know that as they change signs, this trine sextile part will continue. This feels good to me because it feels like it favors a more visionary, a more idealistic, more utopian type opportunity and environment moving forward for all of us. The sun obviously will move very quickly, and the South Node is supporting us to be egoless during this period of time. Egoless to the hauntings of your 12th house ancestral knowing of, you know. Okay, now I want to go to the 21st and look at the sun moving into Sagittarius. Again, this is your second house. And this is important because as the sun moves into Sagittarius, Mercury is stationing to go retrograde. Mercury will retrograde from the 25th of November all the way through the 15th of December. And it will go over the great attractor. This great attractor is a point within the Shapley cluster that gives us the power to access the universe. As I focus on something I want, with the primary vibration being of joy, of excited anticipation, of growth, you know, versus fear and trepidation, the universe will start to bring in the elements and the things to build that very thing. And it does not matter what it is. It could be $1 trillion. It could be a tricycle. It does not matter. It's the focus. The universe has no emotional investment. Now, the challenging little ditty right now is that Mercury is in an opposition to Jupiter. And so as this retrograde is going to start on the 25th, and we're stationing right now, the stationing energy is very powerful because it's holding in the sky. And Jupiter being retrograde so far away from home makes me feel as Jupiter is being tasked to look at the details of things, to kind of come down the line, and instead of looking at the big picture of what could be, thinking about how it will actually be like the real feasibility of it within my earthly experience. Now, let me see if I can be just slightly more clear about that. Oh, it'd be so great one day to get married and have a husband. And then you're like, oh my God, he leaves the toilet seat up. And oh my God, blah, 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 blah. These small details that, that create a compatible experience within my life. I don't know why I want to put it that way, but that eighth house of transformation being Gemini is just telling me that there's other people, Gemini's about other people, and whatever I'm planting the seeds for that I'm reviewing through Mercury's retrograde and that I'm trying to attract is going to be very powerful for how my life unfolds in an everyday way. Scorpio, when you think of your fourth house changing, you literally could change and end up marrying someone or end up divorcing someone, or your home life changes. You move to another country or you move somewhere that you're totally different and there's an adjustment period. I mean, it doesn't have to be that dramatic, but whatever it is, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, and you're going to start feeling it. So this Mercury retrograde is about defining the things that you want a little more succinctly. I guess that's the way I want to put it. The Mercury will be exact the great attractor on 11/13. It will be retrograde on the great attractor on the 5th of December, and then it will be on the great attractor on the 27th of December direct. That's at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. Any planets that you have in your chart, your natal chart, within 5 to 12 degrees, maybe 10 degrees. The closer the orb, the more intense the energy. But this is very powerful for you to access during this time as well. I can't emphasize how much I kind of like Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius. It makes me kind of warm and fuzzy on the inside. Now let's go to the last day of the month, which is the 30th, and we're going to have a new moon in Sagittarius. And I'm going to do a separate, more detailed video of that, but this is going to be at 10:21 p.m. Pacific time. New moon in Sagittarius. And yeah, okay. So here we see, you had your new moon at the beginning of the month on the first Scorpio at 9 degrees. And now we see this 9th degree again. Again, my little head for numbers is saying, oh, something's coming. As something comes to a culmination, I'm also giving myself an opportunity to bring something new in. And that 9th degree is the Sagittarian degree of my beliefs, my connection to something I can't see with my eyes. I can't see or feel with my senses, the 5 physical senses. And I really think that Scorpio is pre-wired to trust that something's bigger happening in this universe. And when you plug into that in your intensity to excavate that which gets in your way psychologically, that's why I think you're so powerful. Because when you get brave, you get powerful, and you get a lot of money and a lot of influence over others, which could look like control, but it isn't. It's inspiring. So it's kind of doubly tasked for Scorpio to look at their Mars and their Pluto energy. So during this new moon, you're going to see a favorable aspect to being brave. You're going to see this square to Saturn giving you a little bit of nonsense about are you really endeavoring? 5th house, pleasure, romance, conception of children, give and take in romance, and your own, it's the comic, the child, the performer, the leader, the lion normally. So this is really going to be, are you willing to give up whatever fixed energy is getting in your way and stand in your dream, stand in your creativity, stand in your voice? Pisces rules the voice. These things are in layers, nothing is just flat. Not one darn thing on the whole wheel. And I even think keeping it in whole sign is dumbing it down a bit, but it's easier when you do it for a group. So, and yes, we see this opposition, but this opposition is kind of loose for me. I'm not really too invested in this. I'm more invested in the trine to the North Node in your 6th house of work. So when you start to get really brave and start to do the work instead of being pissed off or brooding in some way, the square is going to create some sort of tension. And this could be eased by Mars over here in your 10th house of career. So you've got something brewing. And I think what's going on mostly is that, am I going to hold on to something I'm right about, but it's not working for me? Or am I willing to let it die so that I can rise like the phoenix and live the life I was meant to? So, all righty. I'm going to stop my share right now. Thank you so much, Scorpio, for watching. I appreciate you. And please like, please subscribe. I'm going to put on the end card a love and money reading for you for November. It's a tarot card reading specifically for Scorpio sun, but it's for all Scorpio of the three biggies, rising, moon, sun. So hope you like that. And I'll be back in December. So see you soon. Bye bye.